Voor we naar huis gaan, eerst nog even langs Brussel. We hebben hier een afspraak met Bruno Waterfield en die gaat ons een goede tour geven langs de mooiste gebouwen van de EU.
My name is Bruno Waterfield. I work for the Daily Telegraph newspaper in Britain. I've been working here for about 11 years in Brussels, so I know the town quite well. I know this place very well indeed, too well. When I first came to Brussels over 11 years ago, I was probably pretty neutral about the European Union. I think I can very safely say that after over 10 years here, my view has changed completely. I am now, pretty hostile to the EU. I have seen how it works. I've seen how it works in a crisis. I've seen how it spends money. I've seen people coming and working here and developing into the routines, and I would argue that these are institutions that need to be closed and need to be abolished.
We're standing in front of the building called Europa. Can you tell us something about it?
It was built primarily to host EU summits or meetings of the European Council, as it's called. They take place 4 times a year. The building will have cost 280 million euros. Bear in mind that this building has been built at a time when the construction industry across the Eurozone has contracted by about a third. What happens here isn't like the rest of the world. The rest of the world has a recession. None of these people working in these buildings can be fired. Complete contrary to reality elsewhere, we're actually building new buildings for them. European integration can only go further. It's always more Europe, and more Europe means more civil servants and more buildings. We're standing in front of a building which will, when it's been built, be called the Wilfred Martens building, named after a former Belgian Prime Minister who was a great European federalist. It's a building that will house staff for the European Parliament, which you can see just behind it. It's going to cost 125 million euros at least. The reason why the Parliament has so many staff is these will be assistants for MEPs. They increased their allowances a couple of years ago, so each MEP has a staffing allowance that's worth around about 220,000 euros a year, which means MEPs can employ lots of more people to work for them, even though their numbers have gone down from 766 to 751 after the elections, and all of those staff that we're paying for have to be housed in this new building. The most that an assistant is allowed to be paid is 91,000 euros a year. So some of the assistants working in that parliament are paid 91,000 euros a year.
What's wrong with the old parliament building?
Well, the people in the parliament say that it's too overcrowded. So they've given themselves all this money to pay for extra assistants, and even though the number of MEPs is declining, it's gone down by about 15, they say they need new buildings.
Le centre des visiteurs du Parlement européen. Tell me more, please.
It's the Parliamentarium. It costs around about 20 million euros. It celebrates the work of MEPs. They take lots of school kids in there, and it's all multimedia role-playing game to see what the life of an MEP is like. Of course, you have to remember that obviously this is the Parliament, so the European method of consensus always wins. So they increased the spending by 47% at a time when a lot of museums and art galleries in countries across the Eurozone especially are being shut down. And this is the showcase for the European Parliament. The European Parliament really likes to boast about itself. Since the beginning of this year, up until the elections, has spent around about 16 million euros just on advertising itself. This building used to be called the Eastman Building. It's been rented out to the EU institutions for a long time. And in 2007, the European Parliament agreed to buy it for a lease on it, a 99-year lease for 18.5 million euros. It is now becoming a museum. It's going to cost around about 100 million euros. The Parliament's official figure is 56 million euros, but that doesn't count the staffing costs to get it all set up. It doesn't in fact include the cost of the building. Again, you have to ask yourselves, there's a crisis going on. People are losing their jobs, museums and galleries are being shut down, but not here. They're spending 100 million euros to build a museum that no one really wants, a museum that no one really needs apart from a few German MEPs who see it as a great vanity project to celebrate the great big project. 280 million euros, 125 million euros, 20 million euros, 100 million euros.
Last year we had our reporter Tom Staal here, and he made a video and he got smacked and loud, or as you said it, pushed and shoved by two MEPs.
Hey, cosa vuole?
What happened after that?
Well, nothing. I mean, the MEPs still are paid their 304 euros cash just for turning up. British MEPs call the allowance sign in and slope off, or sign in and sod off. And the corridor where they have to go in to sign a register is protected by special closed circuit television, so that the security within the Parliament can see if journalists are hanging around to see who's signing in and then sloping off to disappear back home. Now that allowance is really controversial. It's been controversial for a long time. Tom caught them at it. Other journalists have caught them at it. It never changes. And when the Parliament is back, when MEPs are back here after the elections, they will continue to get their 304 euros a day in cash, tax-free, whether they do any work or not.